This is Aghawadda Cross on the road from Timoleague to Barryroe, and on Monday the 10th of May 1920 3 members of the Royal Irish Constabulary were killed in an ambush just up the road over here. The policemen who died were Sergeant John Flynn from Deer Island, Kildysart, County Clare, Constable Edward Dunn from Clonard, County Laois, and Constable William Brick, a native of Lerrig near Ardfert in County Kerry. The lead up to the ambush began on the night of the 25th of February 1920 when local IRA volunteers under the command of Sean Hales attacked Timoleague RIC barracks, which was located on a site to the left of where the steps leading up to the Catholic Church are located today. Due to the fact that the IRA mine failed to explode, the attack did not succeed, but the sounds of a dramatic firefight echoed through the streets of Timoleague for a number of hours before the IRA withdrew. Among the RIC men who successfully defended Timoleague barracks that night were Sergeant Flynn and Constable Dunn. It so happened that there was also a failed IRA attack on Mount Pleasant RIC barracks near Bandon the same night. One of the RIC defenders of Mount Pleasant barracks was Constable Brick, who soon afterwards would be transferred to Timoleague and would later die with his 2 colleagues at Aghawadda. In the weeks and months following the attack on Timoleague barracks, the police there, as well as British military, were very active searching houses and arresting local men in an attempt to find the IRA men responsible for the events of the 25th of February.
You're coming with me, and where is your brother Paddy? I'm looking for your brother Paddy!
As was the case throughout Ireland, the IRA in West Cork knew that the Royal Irish Constabulary were the eyes and the ears of the British authorities. To prevent the Timoleague police from causing more serious damage to the local IRA, it was decided to take out members of the Timoleague RIC. Charlie Hurley, Vice Commandant of the Bandon Battalion of the IRA, and other local IRA officers came up with a plan for an ambush. Cattle would be driven off a loyalist farmer's land at Argyhan with the hope that he would report the matter to the police, who in turn would visit the farm to investigate, and en route the IRA would ambush them. On Monday the 10th of May the plan was put into operation. Cattle were driven away at Argyhan, and Charlie Hurley with his men at 5 a.m. took up ambush positions at Aghawadda. 3 RIC men and a black and tan at about 3 p.m. left the police barracks here on the main street in Timoleague and walked out the road to Barryroe, and after 1.5 miles arrived at the 5 road junction at Aghawadda. From here they took the Agha4 to Ring Road, which was the route the IRA had guessed the police would use. Sergeant Flynn and Constable Brick led the way, with Constable Dunn and a black and tan temporary constable Arthur Grimsdale walking about 25 yards behind. Charlie Hurley had taken up a command position here inside the embankment of Spittal Mill Pond. Ten IRA men, 2 from Kilbrittain and 8 from Barryroe, took up firing positions here on the high ground about 100 metres further ahead. Once the police patrol had passed Charlie Hurley's position, which was at that side of this corner, the IRA opened fire, and most of the IRA firing came from up here. Sergeant Flynn was wounded instantly in the left ankle, but managed to drag himself over a ditch into a field. Constable Brick, who was walking close to Flynn, was wounded a number of times, and then a revolver bullet to the head killed him instantly. At this stage, Constables Dunn and Grimsdale were now being fired on as well, and they made a run for it, heading off in that direction. Both men were wounded and fell, but they got up again and continued running, and Constable Dunn was fatally wounded in the neck. Grimsdale, who was using a shotgun, ran in a zigzag fashion down the road and got involved in a running battle with Charlie Hurley, who was armed with a Lee Enfield rifle. Grimsdale managed to escape
through trees and fields and emerged onto the main Timoleague road, further east, just as Tig Sullivan from Lislevan was coming along in a horse and car. O'Sullivan had been in Timoleague summoning a doctor for his wife, who was about to give birth. Grimsdale forced O'Sullivan to turn around and take him back to the barracks in Timoleague. It is possible that the wounded Sergeant Flynn continued exchanging shots for a while with the IRA, but his body with additional wounds was later found almost totally submerged in a nearby stream. When the sounds of the final shots faded, the IRA ambush party, having removed the revolvers from the dead policemen, left the scene quickly. Because the Black and Tan Grimsdale managed to escape, police reinforcements from Timoleague returned to Aghawadda within a short time. They found the body of Constable Dunn lying on the left-hand side of the road here, with his feet facing the ditch and his head on the road. The body of Constable Brick was found 90 yards further on, in the middle of the road, lying in a pool of blood, with Sergeant Flynn's bullet-holed boot lying next to him. Bloodstains in front of Brick's body led to a point 10 yards further on the left-hand side of the road. At this spot there was a large clot of blood on the ditch, and from the appearance of the ground it looked as if someone had been sitting or lying there. Sergeant Flynn's body was found submerged in the stream here. RIC Constables removed it afterwards, and on it they found his watch, which had stopped at 3:43 p.m. The RIC also found spent bullet cases and an empty whisky bottle at the IRA firing positions. The bodies of the 3 RIC men were taken from Aghawadda and laid out on bags on the floor upstairs in the courthouse in Timoleague, where postmortems and an inquest took place the following day. Armed British troops with fixed bayonets guarded the building over those few days and nights. At the inquest, the 14-man jury initially found a verdict of willful murder by some person or persons unknown, but after some pressure by the local IRA, this verdict was changed a few days later to killed by persons unknown. The police abandoned Timoleague Barracks soon after Aghawadda Ambush, and the building was demolished by the IRA on the 3rd of December 1920 to prevent it being reoccupied. For the Royal Irish Constabulary, Aghawadda would remain where they lost the most members in a single incident in West Cork throughout all of the War of Independence. The ambush was a bloody and tragic affair for the RIC, but it built up the reputation of the IRA commander Charlie Hurley, later to become OC of the 3rd Cork Brigade, who died himself in action on the morning of Crossbarry Ambush on the 19th of March 1921. IRA Commandant Charlie Hurley is buried in Tlagoch graveyard near Timoleague. Sergeant John Flynn was buried, it is believed, on Cannon Island on the Shannon near Kildysart. Constable William Brick is buried in the old church graveyard at Ardfert, and Constable Edward Dunn is buried in Raheen Old Cemetery in County Laois.
Hark, I will tell you of a hero who rallied the forces of Erin on hillside and lawn, when the brutal invader had crushed and dismayed them, and long they had slumbered, awaiting the dawn. Yet true to their birthright, these brave hearts re-echoed the pulse of the dead that no tyrant could slay. The foremost of all in the battle's red lighting, with the boys from West Cork, was this man from Borley. As the grey dawn of morning stole over the green hills, whilst wounded a while in seclusion he lay, those merciless foemen drew fiercely around him, whilst his boys unsuspecting were deep in the fray. But he gallantly fought as they pulled in around him, and soon his two rivals were lying at his feet. But in dashing away deadly guns from an outpost, still the bravest of hearts that for freedom did beat.